the first thing you should do is launch the Mars simulator. So once you have this open, you can see that on the left-hand side here, you have a text editor. And on the right-hand side, you have your registers. So here's the register name, the register number, and what values are stored in there at this moment. Before you start using Mars, I want to mention a couple things about the registers. Number one, the registers reside on the processor. That means that they are not in main memory, they are not in RAM, and the idea there is that data is moved a little quicker because you're right on the processor. Your main memory is RAM, and that's where any variable declarations would be stored. Variables would be stored in RAM. The third thing is there are 32 registers. So if you look at this list right here, you can see they're numbered from 0 to 31. They are 32 bits each. You cannot use every single one for data storage. So some of these are reserved. If you take a look at the 0 register, the value is 0. And it is 0 at all times, so you should think of this as sort of a constant if you need it. AT has a reserved meaning. This is, you can see some of the text helps you out there, reserved for assembler. The V registers are reserved when you're using functions, including your syscall functions. A registers are reserved for any values that need to be sent through syscall. T registers are temporary registers, 0 through 7. You can use these. S registers are saved temporary. These are, again, 0 through 7. Then you have a few extras down here. K for kernel, GP, global pointer, FP for frame pointer. There's also the program counter and the high-low registers. The high-low registers are used when you're multiplying or dividing, and you'll see values go in there. The RA register is a return address, so when you jump to a function or a subroutine, a register needs to be stored as to where to return to, and that's what that is going to be used for. So again, reserved registers is what we're looking at. Okay, the last thing I wanted to mention about registers, well, actually two more things. One is that any operations can only be performed on data when they're in registers. So that means addition, subtraction, etc. So you have to move your data from main memory or from a variable into the register and then perform an operation on it. And then the fifth thing is the naming. So when you're using these registers, when you're moving data to and from, let's say, for example, all of your T and S registers, you would need to use the $T and then the number. That's the naming convention there. You have one alternative, and that is to use the number that's been assigned here in this column. So you could say $10, and that would also refer to the $T2 register, but you would have to put a $sign in front of it. Okay, that's it on registers.